So you need a new job, also called now what? Introduction. This was what concerned people around 2018 when the first edition of this book was published. Will automation and the Internet of Things lead to mass unemployment? Guardian, June 2018, Internet version. Mark Carney warns robots taking jobs could lead to the rise of Marxism. Colin Drury, 14th of April 2018, Independent online version. The growing force of digital disruption sweeps through the oil and gas industry. Internet headline, May 30, 2018. Most US manufacturing jobs lost to technology, not trade. Increasing protectionism is unlikely to override forces of automation. Financial Times Data Global Trade, June 2018, Internet version. Companies feel layoffs can also pay off in hiring process. Professionals looking for jobs are increasingly open to saying that they were laid off simply because it's not as uncommon or as rare as it was before. 26th of May 2018, Internet headline. You will probably notice that in the last 6.5 years since, the world has moved on significantly already. Digitization is now everywhere, automation has taken over whole warehouses, Amazon for example. Climate change is now so obvious that nobody who opens their eyes even just to the world outside his own door can avoid seeing it. Believe it or not, in 2018, there were still quite a few doubters, although US President Jimmy Carter was warned about climate change in 1977 already, and there were TV shows about it in Germany as early as 1978. And the newest potential threat, AI, is now in everybody's mind, while there is still the nuclear threat, and far-right movements are pushed by every social media platforms and have taken over the US government apparently. A brave new world it certainly is. Orwell's 1984 that scared the daylights out of us at school is long old news. Every smart TV has a camera nowadays, and your phone's AI listens in on every conversation you have, making helpful suggestions of what you could buy based upon what they hear. Everybody knows that the media loves sensationalism. When it bleeds, it leads. Tell people everything is fine and you sell zip. Tell people the catastrophe is right around the corner and they'll buy your paper. Or nowadays, buy the internet version. But that was always the case. Nowadays, the media has trouble keeping up with the bad news. They don't have to chase the ambulance anymore. There are still a few good people who are trying to point their fellow humans at what is good in the world and what good choices we might have, like Peter Diamandis with his blog, the World Economic Forum, that points out win-win situations between humans and nature that can also make a profit, thereby making positive change more attractive to the conventional businesses and more scalable to all. And there are a number of bloggers and influencers who also point out the chances we have to hit a narrow strip of future. But there are also a whole lot of people who either make profit from spreading fear or who use fear to control people. From what I hear from sources close to the US government, fear is thought of as being the fastest way to control people, so they use it. Not very helpful to the world and humanity, but helpful to their short-term interests. So things are serious. We actually had to explain why at this point in 2018, when almost nobody was seeing it yet, but we can cut out quite a bit of explanation now, just about 6 years later, because now it is obvious. With that change comes the possibility of social unrest, widespread depression, and loss of purpose and social connections. The phrase of the new industrial revolution was being coined by world leaders in Davos in 2018 already. I do believe they had a point. Back in 2018, we saw the developments potentially as the coming dawn of the new age, an age where people are not stuck in boring 9-to-5 jobs anymore, that they cannot wait to escape on a Friday night, but where people find a new purpose for themselves. Now that a basic income is guaranteed, a world where people work and contribute because they want to work, not because they have to, in order to survive. An age of abundance, where what one person builds becomes a platform for the product of the other, where technology and nature are not opposing forces anymore, but where technology helps clean up the environment. Unfortunately, the world has taken a bit of a dark turn of late, a turn that was not really necessary. That bright future might still be possible, but we will probably have to go through a bit of a detour to get there. Of course, it could also be the beginning or the end, but at this point we don't have to paint a picture for anybody. Just remember where we want to land and aim there. The energy will flow to the future you envision. So if you want the future to be bright, envision that. The good news is that there really are environmentally oriented people now who finally ceased feeling victimized by the destruction of all they held dear, the powerlessness to do anything against the violation, who have now partnered with entrepreneurs and technicians and work alongside them to give nature a hand and clean up what we as a species have muddied. We now have companies that are cleaning up the plastic patch in the ocean, companies that clean up plastic in rivers and invented incentives for people to recycle globally. New forms of energy have been developed and are already being deployed. Coral reefs are being reconstructed, Noah's Arks are being built, and there are even companies that have developed technologies to take the carbon out of the atmosphere. There are also those whose internal world is underdeveloped and who are abusing the new technologies that are now available, especially algorithms and AI. If you focus on the future they want to create, you will get very depressed indeed. And the media tries to keep you there, but there is no point in doing that. It will just lead to tunnel vision. So in the rest of the book, let's focus on what we can do, what we can control, on the future we want to build. And if nothing else works, then how we can transport the seed of light through the darkness into the future so it may sprout once the forces of dark have self-destructed, because that is exactly what the yin and yang symbol is all about. Both in the light and in the dark part, you will find a seed of the other color. So let us be the seed of the light. Change will always be scary to a degree, but there is a difference between being scared of the abyss you're looking into and being scared of a high wave that you're about to surf. First is something that will swallow you up and destroy you, while the second may become the most exhilarating adventure of your life. The thing is that oftentimes it is your choice whether you're looking at the abyss or the wave. The way you look at it may become a self-fulfilling prophecy. What we found is that while it is always necessary to look up and not down to succeed, where you always need to focus on what you want to achieve, not what you're afraid of, it is much easier to do so if you have some guidelines and techniques, some best practices, some tools, if you will, on how you can figure out your next move. These guidelines and tools may just be the one thing that gives you the confidence to keep your eyes up when it counts, and we want to give these tools to you to give you the best chance to succeed.